Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips. No Jeff Torrey again today. It's day 4 of Jeff Torrey is missing. And I think this will be the last one. Jeff should be back tomorrow night. He should be back tomorrow night, but it's Jets-Broncos, so does he really care? I don't know if I blame him if he doesn't show up till Sunday. So we'll find out. Will Jeff be here? Will Jeff not be here tomorrow night as we talk Jets-Broncos? Can't wait for that one. That's going to be the excitement of the week for sure. So today's our mailbag show like we do every Thursday. I like to answer listener questions. You send us to them. Email at fantasyfootballprophet.com. You can go Instagram.com/fantasyfootballprophet, Twitter, the FF Prophet, or even the website, fantasyfootballprophet.com, and get us these questions in every week. We like to help out as many listeners as we can. So this week, got some good questions here. So I'm going to start it off, just get right into this thing. Start it off, Chris Valentino asks a question. Rest of the season, standard scoring. Are you going David Montgomery? Are you going Devin Singletary? And this one's actually tough for me because my heart wants to say Devin Singletary so badly. And just on an even playing field, I feel like Devin Singletary is the better player. He's a much better player, in my mind at least, than David Montgomery. I know David Montgomery has a better opportunity, and that's where it ends up looking. But you know what? I'm going to go with my heart here and believe that the talent wins out. And I believe the talent is there with Devin Singletary. And I know it's early. I'm still holding on to this. It might not be exactly this. Okay, I'll say this. The smarter decision, if you had to choose between the two for the rest of the season, the smarter, safer decision is probably David Montgomery. But I feel like the bigger upside is Singletary. I'm still on board. So I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna keep going with Devin Singletary. Next question came in from Ray. He says, by the end of the year, is Joe Burrow or Cam Newton going to be ranked higher? So right now it says Burrow is ranked one spot ahead of Newton. So how's that going to continue? And I'm going to go and say I think it's still going to be Cam. But Burrow, if Bengals continue to be behind in these games, they're going to have to throw the ball a lot. And Burrow's going to rack up some numbers. And he's going to, looks like, have a pretty solid fantasy season. But I do believe Cam Newton should be higher up. And will be that way just because of his running ability. He ends up he puts up points, right? He just does with all that. So I'll go and stick with I'm going to stick with Cam there. All right, let's see, what do we got next? The question here, is it okay to have Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas on the same team in your lineup at once? And yeah, it definitely is. I don't think there's any problems whatsoever with that. So I'm completely on board with doing that one. Tyler Benny asked, should I trade Darrell Henderson or Melvin Gordon, one of those two, and Alan Lazard for Kenny Galladay? So I would, and he says I also have Dalvin Cook and Aaron Jones, so he has two good running backs. I would package Henderson and Lazard and get Galladay. I'm going for that one. I know Lazard had a great game. Henderson had a great game. I'm okay with making that trade, though. I think Kenny Galladay is a star, and he's going to be that way. And you have two good backs in Cook and Jones. I would actually I would take the chance and try to get one more star there. Not everyone might do that, but yeah. Big Fish asked, should I trade OBJ for Myles Gaskin, in a PPR league? It depends here. It really depends on what your other running backs are. If you really need that running back help that badly, because I don't think I can do it. Even though Beckham, I know he's around 41st maybe this on the season so far. I just think there's too much talent there. And Gaskin's getting a good opportunity, but I don't necessarily believe in his talent. And he's getting it done with it's a lot of volume. So I'm gonna stick on the OBJ side. I'd really have to see the rosters here to truly know. I'd really have to see that to know exactly what to do there. But I'm going to stick with, I'm going to stick with OBJ. All right. Which trio, this is from Tim Shaw. Which trio would you rather have for the rest of the year and why? So he has 3 options. Nick Chubb, Edwards-Helaire, Mixon, Edwards-Helaire, Drake and Mixon, or Drake, Chubb, and Mixon. And I will go Chubb, Edwards-Helaire, and Mixon. It's just the talent. I think that is the group that has the most talent and the most potential to be good. Mixon is in every single one of these, so he's the one that people are worried about. So you're basically choosing, do you want Chubb and Edwards-Helaire, or do you want, Chubb and Drake, or Drake and Edwards-Helaire? I just don't want Drake. I want those other guys ahead of Drake. So I'm Chubb, Edwards-Helaire, Mixon. That's actually a pretty simple one for me. I'm gonna go with that because I think that's where the talent is. All right, next up, here we go. What do we got next? So here we go. Should I trade Raheem Mostert for Joe Mixon? And should I trade Devontae Parker for Deebo Samuel? So I don't think I would do the Parker for Samuel thing. Even though when Samuel comes back, it could be very interesting. That's actually a really tough one for me. That would, again, depend on what the rest of your receivers are like. Because Samuel's, if you don't need Parker to be in your lineup and you have other solid wide receivers, I think you might take a chance on the upside. But if your Parker's actually being used, keep Parker. But this might be a play where you get some upside. And would you trade Mostert for Joe Mixon? And I actually would. I would
because,
I think Mixon's going to turn around. I really do. I know that there's a lot of people that just aren't on board with me on that, and I get it, but I just have to go with it. I think the talent wins out. I think talent wins out. It just does, right? Maybe not all the time, but in this scenario, I think it does. Jonathan asks, Jeff Wilson, T. Higgins, or Jerry Jeudy as my flex. Man, and it's rough because of, that Jeudy going with, the undrafted free agent quarterback there in Ripon. And T. Higgins had a big game last game. And, I'm really not buying the Jeff Wilson thing. A lot of that was in garbage time. I'll go Jeudy. I still will go Jeudy. I don't love it because I don't love anything about it, but I'm going to go Jerry Jeudy on that one. And, it's your boy Gino asks, who do you like going forward better, T. Higgins or Brandon Ayuk? This is actually a very close one for me. Very close. I'm going to go Brandon Ayuk because I believe there's more opportunity there in San Francisco. Higgins still has Green, still has Boyd ahead of him. I think there's going to be more opportunity, just a little bit more opportunity for Brandon Ayuk. And I like both of these players actually quite a bit. So I'm would actually be perfectly fine if someone had a preference of Higgins over Ayuk. I definitely would be okay with that. Table Hop Game says Cam Akers was dropped to waivers. Is he worth a pickup? And I think he is worth a pickup. So it depends on who you're dropping. It said he'd drop Sony Michel for Akers. And, I think I would. I don't think there's much upside in Sony Michel. And I think there's still a lot of upside with Akers if he's ever able to become that running back one. You see what Brown did in week 1. You saw what Henderson did. I think Akers is the more talented of the three. Will he get that opportunity after coming back from the injury? It's still got to see that, but I'm going to go with that. Kay Allen asks, who should I start in my flex here? A.J. Brown, Alan Lazard, or Jerick McKinnon? I'd go McKinnon if he's still the main guy there. If there's no Mostert this week, I'm going to go McKinnon for you there. So NYG Squad says he's being offered DeAndre Hopkins and Josh Jacobs for Lockett and Eckler. Would you do it? I'm going to do that. Lockett had a big game. Eckler had a better game, a pretty solid game. And you're getting what I think is still a really good top 10 back in Jacobs and the one guy who's going to probably be the number one target monster all year, DeAndre Hopkins. Go do that trade. I'm completely good with that. All right. Another one. Should I trade Mostert for Ertz? Ertz he just hasn't impressed me terribly yet. When Mostert comes back, I think he's going to be a good option. It depends on what your other running back situation is again. That's a lot of it here. And it's hard to make that decision without, but I'm not as in love with Zach Ertz as before. I just don't know about this one. I know there's no one to really throw the ball to that Ertz should be good. And Mostert we don't know. So, maybe I do this trade, just not knowing Mostert for sure. It's tough though. I'd want to see your other running backs. If Mostert's not going to be used, then it's something you might want to do. You could go for that. Here we go. Barron asks, should I trade CeeDee Lamb and Zach Ertz for Devontae Freeman? And I don't believe I'm doing that one. I need to see something from Freeman right now before I would do that. And CM asks, should I start Minshew or Breeze? And I'm going to go Breeze. I'm just not on board with Minshew very much. And yeah, has to be Brees for me. Brees is the same necessarily as it was in the past, but I'll still go with it. Harrison asks, is AJ Green droppable for T. Higgins? And I'm not going to do that one. AJ Green's had plenty of opportunity. I think that opportunity getting that kind of opportunity is going to work itself out in the end, right? I still like picking up T. Higgins, but not for AJ Green. I don't like making that to be the decision of the player you have to get rid of. I'm just not quite on board there. I get it. Higgins had a big game and he's the exciting new thing, but AJ Green, I think, still has something left in him. Here we go. Would you trade James Conner to get Joe Mixon? Now, this is a tough one, right? Mixon's been struggling. And I know as much as I love Mixon, I'm going to have a hard time with this. And I think I'm just going to say you keep James Conner. I can't believe that. I cannot believe that this season has forced me to say that. But I guess I'll keep Conner there. But, all right. Quick to the point today. Got your mailbag questions. If you have other questions you want to get to, go to Instagram. That's the best place to get a hold of us. Instagram.com/fantasyfootballprofit. Or even, YouTube's a good place. Go to youtube.com/fantasyfootballprofit. Find this video. If you're listening on the podcast right now, go to YouTube anyway. Go subscribe. Find this episode. And if you're listening on YouTube, put it in the comments. And we'll answer your questions here before Sunday's games for sure. But that'll do it for today. Jeff should be back tomorrow night as we talk about the exciting, exhilarating Jets-Broncos Week 4 Thursday Night Football. Can't wait. Talk to you guys then.